Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 95. My name is Evan Lewis. I am, of course, joined by Leo Andry.
Yep.
And Joe Latovsky.
That is me.
That is you. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm feeling a little bit sickly tonight. Throat's not in the best shape possible, but we're gonna keep the energy high because we've got 2 new patrons and we are not gonna let them down. So, yeah, fanfare. Play that Augie's Great Municipal Band. Awesome drumline. Everyone's favorite. The highlight of episode 1.
Oh boy.
That was a mistake.
Oh, that started to turn into I Want Candy.
But we have to give huge, gigantic shout-outs to... I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but this is the name on the screen. It's Wien.
It looks like a 90s Star Wars character name.
It does, actually.
I've ever seen
that could easily be a Kevin J. Anderson character, a.k.a. Havoc Hobby on our Discord. I've already been active in there. We've appreciated having you in, and we look forward to much more good conversations. And Andrew Dahl. I don't know what your Discord name is. Otherwise, we'd be telling people to say hi.
I'll give you a hint.
Yes.
Shorten up Andrew a little bit.
Oh, well, you know what? It could have been. I don't know. I don't want to make any assumptions.
Drew? It's Drew?
It's Drew. It's Ah. Okay, fine. Hello, Andy. We're listening. I don't know why I just went into Fraser Crane mode, but... Hello, Seattle. I'm listening.
Should we have a new segment where we have people call in with their questions? I don't even have an example. My opponent was mean to me, and I felt bad. Hey. I wish Darth Talon was in every Star Wars miniatures game. What should I do?
Hey,
well,
Dr. Crane, I wanted to get your advice on this.
Miniatures games, particularly Star Wars games, do not exist to titillate you or anyone, so cut it out.
The dude who made the topless Leia minis.
Oh my gosh.
Would disagree.
This is a thing, people. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't be surprised that it's a thing, and yet, here I sit, surprised.
Well, you all can take solace in the fact that we do not endorse that sort of thing, because that's weird.
Amongst many other things that it is, yes, it is weird. But yes, thank you so much to We In, parentheses, Havoc Hobby, and Andrew Dahl, parentheses, Andy. We appreciate you so very much.
I've been pronouncing it Win this whole time.
I'm guessing.
You gotta pronounce oh, well. So do you guys remember hearing this story about Ladasha?
Yes.
Maybe it's apostrophe in. You pronounce the apostrophe rather than skipping it.
You know what? It could happen.
You know, in some languages, the apostrophe, when it's written out in English, is meant to denote like a noise. Yeah, no, really.
So, well, no, I believe you, but you're saying it could be in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. Hope you know what. Actually, you know what? That's a good segment. Thank you, Leo. It's like you planned that. If you become a patron, you can actually jump into the exclusive patron lounge on our Discord. You can type to us while we record. You can jump into the recording studio on Discord, listen to us ramble on like a bunch of morons, and then tell us how we're doing it wrong. So that's just one of the perks of becoming a patron over at patreon.com/thejodocast, as these two fine people have just done.
If only that music would autoplay when you visit.
Every time I say patreon.com/thejodocast. Great.
Yeah, I think when you visit the page, like it used to be on like MySpace. We need to.
I could set that up on the
have
website
a MySpace
if you
page.
Want. I mean, if you really,
do we think that would help or hurt us? I could see it going.
I could also just straight up redesign, everything on the website so it's something out of GeoCities.
Oh boy, and we've got some great emojis over at Discord too, including the exclusive George Lucas emoji, which
it's hardly exclusive.
Since you stole it from somewhere else, I'm pretty sure.
From the official Star Wars created emojis.
But every time he shows up, you gotta give it the old George voice, the old Uncle George. It's great. It's like poetry. It's cyclical. Just like this podcast, just goes in circles.
Well, I feel like by this point, people have either decided they regret becoming our patrons, or they've really realized that, yes, it was the right choice for them.
Well, never mind. Anyways, as I've been trying to say, patreon.com/thejodocast. Go there. Find out how you can help us and how we can say thank you. It's awesome. I think it's awesome. Other people obviously think so too. If you would like to check it out, you can go there directly, or you can visit jodocast.com. You can follow the link to go there. You can follow the link to go to our Discord, which is open to everyone, so you don't have to be a patron to join the Discord. We appreciate everyone that jumps on and spends their days and evenings and nights and mornings and breakfasts and lunches and dinners with us as we talk about everything and nothing. And I also wanted to remind everyone that since it's been brought to our attention that people do enjoy listening to the podcast right on the website, on jodocast.com, there are other places to listen to it also. If you have a preferred podcatcher, if you have a preferred platform that we're not on, let us know, and we'll see to it to be available on there. I just submitted to Spotify and Pandora, so if you like listening to your podcasts on there, we will hopefully be on there pretty soon. But in the meantime, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and you can always just take the RSS feed from the website and paste it into your favorite podcatcher. That way you never miss a beat. So, that all having been said, we're super happy to have everyone with us. I hope that we get some more patrons jumping into chat so that they can chime in, but we had some chime-ins, I'm not sure how else to say it right now, from earlier, because we had questions that we sent out to the patrons, because this episode is our yearly best of and review of the past year in Star Wars games. So we're not going to talk about
we got to
what
come
we've
up
been
with
playing.
a better name.
I know that was a bit verbose, but yes, chime-ins sounds like an old-timey Western.
Sounds
slur.
like a anatomical thing that we don't need to talk
Oh
about.
my!
I was thinking it could maybe be an alien species.
You know what? All of those are every bit as good because it all kind of goes in there with jizz.
You want it to be.
Many chime-ins died to bring you these messages from our patrons.
The chime-ins are a great jizz band. So yes, oh my goodness. All right, the best of 2018. We did this. We've done this the past few years, and it's sticking to the same format. If anyone thinks we should do it differently, you can let us know. Especially if you're a patron, let us know. Like, you guys should be doing this instead. You should send out something. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point. I think the sickness is getting to my brain. Wow, I don't even know what that was. I mean, I know what it was.
Disturbed is here.
I know what it was. Just like,
he
why?
poked his head in and then he left.
Oh my gosh!
What do you mean? You said sickness.
Well, okay.
It was the song.
I'm with you. I'm not. You know what? Moving on.
You're right. I have to practice that.
It was on. I'm just not very quick tonight. I'm just not quick tonight. And yes, I do know the song. At least I know the opening of the song. We don't want anyone to sing a song right now. We're going to get to the year that was 2018. For better or for worse, it existed. Some of us would rather it hadn't existed. But let's start with our surprise hit of 2018. Are there any upfront caveats that need to be made about this whole rigmarole? I don't think so. Let's just get to the surprise hit. I'm tired of waiting. I've been waiting all day for this.
Oh, okay.
All right. Surprise hit. This is one that we maybe didn't expect too much out of, and it was good. Doesn't have to be like world-shatteringly awesome. It's just like, oh, that's better than I thought it would be. Joe, go ahead.
I am going to say Star Wars Jedi Challenges, the augmented reality headset from Lenovo, because I got it for Christmas because it was something that I always wanted to try, but also something that I was never going to spend my own money on. So I got it for Christmas, and it's actually super fun, and I really like it. And I still have a lot more to do because there's kind of a lot of content in it, even though it's semi-repetitive. But I really like it. Do you want to know more, or should we move on?
You know what? I'm willing to bet there are people who don't really know what it is.
Would you like to know more?
You get a box, which apparently when it came out was $200, which feels way too much. I think now it's $100, which feels decent price for it. You get a box. It has a replica of Anakin, Luke, Rey's lightsaber. There is a little, like, where the blade would come out, there's like a little nub of a blade that lights up when you turn it on. It connects to your phone via Bluetooth. It has a gyroscopic sensor in there and it vibrates. You have to download an app.
Wait,
it's actually, to my surprise.
Where are we going with this, Joe? Because you said, you know, it vibrates and then you shove it and then you just kind of stopped.
Oh my goodness.
Did I cut out?
Carry on.
You have to download an app. To my surprise, the whole thing runs off your phone. I thought it was kind of going to be a built-in game. But, so you download the app and then you stick it in this headset. The phone screen actually faces down in the headset because it's not like an AR thing where that's all you see. It, like, reflects the screen of your phone, like, on to the front of the headset, so you can still see the room you're standing in, but the game is like projected in front of you. It looks like a hologram, essentially. That's kind of the shtick of the game. You have a Jedi hologram. There's like a personality, the Archivist, I think she's called. She looks like an old Jedi. She looks very Old Republic to me. And she sits there and she gives you Jedi training, and you fight holograms of Maul, the Seventh Sister, the Grand Inquisitor, Darth Vader, and Kylo Ren, and the Praetorian Guards, and this Archivist character. And they came out with a Dark Side expansion where I think you fight Luke and Rey and Yoda. I haven't tried that yet. There's also Holo Chess, which is super fun because while you're wearing this headset, it just looks like there's a big Holo Chess table in front of you in your living room, and you can play the game. And there's finally like official rules for it that I'm thinking about maybe writing down and trying to translate into the pieces from Wizards of the Coast. And there's also like a simple RTS type strategy mode where you have this big overview of like kind of a ground war, and you're dropping units and trying to defend things or push forward. It's pretty simple, but it's still fun because, like I said, it's AR. There's like a big hologram in your living room, and you can walk around it and look at it from any angle. But I guess the actual lightsaber combat is the draw of the game, and it's super fun because the headset also has 2 cameras in it. The cameras track this beacon you sit on your floor, so it knows where the floor is and how far away you are from it. And it tracks the light on the end of the lightsaber, so it knows that in conjunction with the gyroscope in it, knows where your lightsaber is. So you see the blade when you turn it on, like it projects that for you. And as you move it around, the blade moves. And the lightsaber combat is just really fun because when you on Naboo, because you just progress through different planets, like you hold off against battle droids that they're just kind of marching towards you and you deflect, and it feels really fun sitting there deflecting back at battle droids and chopping them up. And you do that with stormtroopers and snowtroopers and first order stormtroopers. It's fun, and they layer in different each faction has a different enemy type, and then there's different difficulties that actually make it pretty challenging when there's a lot of lasers coming at you. It's pretty tough. And then the lightsaber combat itself, I was very skeptical about. I'm like, how is this going to even work and actually be fun? And it's really fun. Essentially, like a prompt will pop up, like a yellow bar, and that just tells you where you need to be holding the lightsaber to block the attack that's coming at you, and it'll change orientations. But they'll come at you pretty fast, so you sit there and you like shift your lightsaber around like 5 times as, the Grand Inquisitor slams at you with his lightsaber. And it feels really cool to have this enemy in your face and you're able to like block all of his attacks. And sometimes, like, I think the Grand Inquisitor the 2 prompts will come up, but only one of them is the right one, and you got to actually, look at where he's swinging to know which one you're supposed to do. Or I think with Kylo, he'll mind trick you, and you lose the prompts, and you've actually got to, like, block, like, unhelped. I've been really enjoying it. There's also, like, a ship battle mode, but it's only for like actual multiplayer, so you'd have to know somebody else with one of these, so I'm never going to be able to do that. I really like it. It just makes my phone get really hot after I've been playing it for maybe 40 minutes or something.
I would guess so, yeah.
Also, there's like sometimes you can't block their attacks and you have to dodge left, right, or down. It's really fun.
Cool. Leo, surprise.
I guess I'm gonna say snowtroopers for Legion.
Okay.
I was just not expecting a lot from them, and they turned out to be my favorite unit in the game. Snowtroopers with a flamethrower on them are beasts. And it's a lot of fun to run up and roast an entire unit of your opponent's troops.
That's happened to me before. You don't let those guys get close. That's what I learned.
And that's why having Scout Recon in the mix now is even better, because I get to start the game with them even closer to my opponent's troops.
Have you painted yours up yet?
Halfway.
I'm picturing them all like completely painted, but from the waist down.
So their legs are white and the top is just gray. So that's fine.
At the very least, they've all been primed except for one snowtrooper.
How did one miss out on
I don't know.
Badge?
I discovered him like after I did my whole thing of painting, and then I meant to go prime him another time when I was doing another round of priming, and I somehow accidentally grabbed Veers out of the box instead of the snowtrooper, and so I ended up priming my Veers, who had already been primed gray. I ended up priming white over top of him a second time now, so now my Veers is white instead of primed gray like I wanted him to be.
Okay.
And the snowtrooper is still just plain plastic, so there you go.
Wow. Okay, then. Great.
But anyways, yeah, the unit's great. I don't think, since they've come out and I've been playing them, I don't think I've built an Imperial list without them in it. I was kind of thinking of at some league game here, just as like a goof around kind of list, trying out Palpatine, 4 snowtroopers with flamethrowers, grenades, and recon intel, and then like I think I could still fit 3 snipers in there, and just see how that plays with basically my entire army just snowtroopers.
Interesting. Well, my surprise hit of 2018 was, or rather, were the updates for Star Wars Battlefront 2. And of course, that's EA Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was not anything that I was paying attention to, but just hearing that they tweaked a few things here and there. I got on after weeks or months of not playing, and they certainly have improved the interface quite a bit, in my opinion, and it's much closer to playable. It's still not a game that I'm good at. It's still a style of game that I am bad at, but they at least fixed the squad interface so that it plays more like you expect it to.
Did you ever get to play a match on Geonosis?
I don't think so.
Because that is a heck of a map. It is gorgeous. There's a lot happening.
I mean, yeah, and the Clone Wars announcement, of course, was a big deal for it too. I liked all the content, honestly, that they brought out this year. The solo content got me excited because I was a big fan. The Clone Wars content got me excited. The fact that they are using Clone Wars series voice actors for it is phenomenal. So it's all good stuff, and it's well executed, and they're improving the game. It's still not going to be one of my top games of all time, certainly, but improvements. So hooray! Although there's a whole other category for most improved, but we'll talk about that when it comes up. All right. Biggest dud. And of course, this is not necessarily based on one specific thing. This could be sales, could be public opinion, could be personal opinion. Mine is certainly going to be, divergent from everybody else's. But looks like Leo certainly knows what he has in mind for the biggest dud of 2018.
My biggest dud is EA.
I mean, that's
everything about
generally speaking, yes.
I mean, they haven't put out a Star Wars game worth playing still. And it should be like the easiest thing in the world for them to do. I mean, back in the 90s, we would get 4 to 5 Star Wars games a year. They weren't always all the greatest, but you know what? At least we got something.
In the 90s, we would get lots of Star Wars games. Kurt will appreciate that one. I guarantee you. I'll hear a comment about that.
I have no idea.
Great. Too bad he's not here live to share that with us.
You leave that in just for him. He'll get one little chuckle, and it'll be worth this whole minute and a half we spent talking about it.
Great.
But yeah, so maybe that's like one of my hopes for 2019 is that Disney gives the Star Wars license to someone else for video games. I know it won't happen, but there you go.
There you go. All right, I'll go next. I don't see Joe's answer on the list, but mine.
I'm still thinking.
All right,
you can say EA too. I'll allow it. You can steal my answer.
Mine. I have 2 answers. One is Star Wars Destiny. This is just me very personally. It has. I had high hopes for it. I had hoped that it would re-engage with me, and that something would come out that would really get me excited for it and make me want to spend that money. And there has really been nothing. Even with cool characters coming out in all the different sets, and they've got some new mechanics in there. there's just nothing. And I hear from other people so much negativity about it, and it's not like just people saying, "Oh, the game's dumb." It's people saying like their prize support has been atrocious, and folks that work at game stores.
I gotta say, complaining about prize support has got to be though like one of the worst reasons to not play a game.
I would agree.
I mean, we played Magic for years and years and years with no prizes.
Right.
Same thing with the Star Wars CCG.
If
we didn't go to any
had
tournaments, it didn't eliminate the fun we had playing the game because we weren't there winning prizes.
Right, but today, if you have a community at a game store and you run leagues and tournaments, I think there is some kind of expectation that, especially from Fantasy Flight, that they're providing some sort of prize support that everybody enjoys. It kind of rewards them for, putting in the effort to make these events happen.
But outside of that, I've talked with people who work at game stores and saying that they are just not selling and that they are going to stop stocking. And so that's not necessarily influencing me, but it's just sort of a kind of a exterior outside of me sign of it not maintaining the big giant push that it had at the beginning where they could not keep it on the shelves. And it's so funny to see Keyforge doing the exact same thing that Destiny did at the very beginning. We cannot keep it on the shelves. And I'm willing to bet that when this stage of the cycle comes around for Keyforge, the same thing's going to happen. And Destiny just never got its hooks into me real hard. Like it, if I was a fish and it had hooks, like it would get its hook into my lip a little bit, but then it would just rip right out, and then I'd just be left with a bleeding mouth, and that's not fun for anybody. So I don't know. It didn't get me, and if it wasn't such a big investment for them, I'd say we wouldn't be seeing too much more of it, but they're still going to have their regular releases, but that's just me. Oh, and also I hate that Palpatine is a commander in Legion. I think that's dumb. I think it's dumb anytime Palpatine is on the field of battle. Dumb, 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 dumb.
Dum 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 dum.
Palpatine was very
dumb. I feel the same way, but also I'm like, well, I mean, he runs around in. Leo doesn't need any input here. He runs around in like Battlefront, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of dumb and weird there too, but it just, it's just a pretend battle, so whatever. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of separate it out in my mind as a game. I mean, and if you want to play with like the fluffier type stuff, I mean, you could just, house rule that he can't be played. Or if he plays, you have to slaughter all of the opponent's troops, or the Empire doesn't.
And all the friendly troops.
And all the friendly, yeah.
Except maybe like the Royal Guards, they get to live. And so once the fight is over, then a new game begins where it's Palpatine and any remaining Royal Guards versus
and Vader.
Vader. Boba Fett would probably be. I don't know. You could pick which units need to be disposed of. Nobody can know that I have lightning fingers. My biggest dud is Destiny.
Oh, really?
Don't remember if I was buying Destiny January 2018. I know I was really into it when it first came out, and I wrote it for 2 or 3 waves, and then the collectible nature of the game lost me, and I just did not like that, and I didn't like the monetary investment required, especially when I have, Legion and Imperial Assault and X-Wing and LCG, RIP. But yeah, I just kind of got burnt out on it, and I like looking at the previews, and I like going, ooh, they picked that character. Ooh, that's cool art. And I kind of like watching people talk about it in our Discord, but that's about it. And it's been sitting on my shelf. I haven't got any new stuff in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It fizzled. I guess that's more than a dud, though. Well, that's about the definition of a dud. If you have a firework and the fuse still goes down and you get a little bit of sparks, and then before it blows up, just nothing. So yeah, it's a dud.
That's a dud.
It fizzled out.
Wow. Well, I thought I was the only one feeling that way, so I don't feel so alone anymore. All right, well, let's move on from duds, because that's depressing. This one's only slightly less depressing, and that's what we missed out on. This is just us personally. What game did we miss? And I'm going to go first on this one. I'm glad I'm bringing this up because someone else brought it up too. Imperial Assault. This year they brought out even more fantastic expansions. They brought out the Ghost Crew, Spectre Squad. They brought out Thrawn. They brought out Hondo. They brought out a whole big box expand. Throndo, yep. For Lothal. So, I mean, it was all Rebels all the time. And even if that's the last that we see of it, that's a hell of a good finish. And I had not really gotten any except for core until earlier this year, and now I have all of Wave 1. I am ready to go. I am ready to get a campaign going. I'm not going to even try for competitive, and I guess it's just as well since I don't know. This is a topic for another day, but I'm thinking competitive Imperial Assault might be winding down, but that's just as fine because I think we all agree Imperial Assault is at its best when it is campaign. And I'm looking forward to doing it. Well, no? Do I hear disagreement?
I was going to say Joe has never thought that. Joe has always been a skirmisher.
Well, I know
like
he
the
likes
campaign,
skirmish,
but I prefer skirmish, and that's my favorite thing to do in Imperial Assault.
I thought, okay, I knew you liked it, but I didn't know you preferred
it. If something was actively tracking the time I put into that game, I'm sure I've put in 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as much time in a skirmish than campaign.
And I would certainly have guessed that too, but I would have guessed that was only because it's easier to find one other person than it is to find 2 or 3 other people.
Well, that's true, but I just like to skirmish a lot. It's fun. The maps are cool because it's essentially, if Imperial Assault was a video game, skirmish is the PvP, the multiplayer where there's maps that you play on that weren't in the campaign, that sort of thing. But there's other cool maps, and you get to build your crews. In the campaign, you just have your one person who levels up as you go, and the Imperial player kind of gets something else each time. But in skirmish, I can have, Hondo running around with Boba Fett and all this stuff. There's, strategies and dice that undermine strategies.
All right. I mean, I'm only too willing to play casual skirmish. I had just thought that campaign was its best form, but I have no problem doing both, depending on how many people we can get at a time.
And especially if you're playing it casually, I don't think you'll see any of the cracks in skirmish or maybe even campaign. Because if you've been playing Rune Wars miniatures,
yes.
So you obviously have someone who doesn't mind going head-to-head at miniatures games, and I think if you tried out Skirmish, you'd probably get a kick out of it.
Excellent. All right. Who wants to go next?
What was this, missed out on?
Yes, missed out on.
I was trying to think of something, and like there wasn't a there was no video games to miss because there was no Star Wars video games came out in 2018 except some mobile games that died. Force Arena came out last year. Remember that game? That game's dead now. That Star Wars Rivals that was coming out, it was like out in Australia. That game's dead now. I don't think I missed out on anything, but since I bought back into X-Wing, I'm doing Rebels only, much like I am with Legion. And for budgetary purposes and fighting the good fight, I miss flying TIE bombers because I used to do that all the time in first edition X-Wing, and now I can't because I don't have a Imperial conversion kit and I don't really plan on getting one. So that's what I miss. There's TIE bombers, there's 5 or 6 of them sitting in my X-Wing storage that are just, they're grounded, and that's a shame. But not so much of a shame that I'm going to go buy an Imperial conversion kit.
I have enjoyed flying some TIE bombers around since X-Wing 2.0 came out. But for me, I'm kind of feel the same way as far as like gaming goes of stuff that came out. I didn't really miss out on anything that I wanted to play. I missed out on stuff that didn't come out, like a new video game, one worth playing.
Or yeah, like I wish there were a Lego game for Rogue One and Last Jedi and Solo.
And honestly, I don't think anyone can say, "Oh, but Rogue One would be too depressing." I mean, they did.
We've been playing through the Harry Potter Lego games, and when Cedric dies, he like falls into little bits, and Harry's like picking up the pieces, like, "Oh,
yeah." Man. And I mean, and we watch plastic Lego Anakin burn on Mustafar.
It's so funny.
So
the darker the source material, the funnier it is when it's in Lego.
Yeah, I'm amazed that we don't have that. I'm amazed we don't have Last Jedi. The throne room fight scene would be amazing in Lego. And to have Snoke, pop in half, like probably try to pick himself up. That'd be great. But yes, I agree with you 100%, Leo. All right. On a more positive note, Rookie of the Year. And that's games that either came out this year or saw most of their play during the calendar year. And I think last year there weren't any brand new games. Or maybe we just didn't have any ones that we really, really liked. So we opened it up to expansions. But this year, there's not really a question. Either one of you can say it because we all have it on the notes.
We're all saying Legion this year.
We are all saying Legion.
Has there even been anything like an actual new game besides Legion anyway?
You could make the argument that the next one we'll talk about, actually, X-Wing 2.0, you could make the argument for it. But yeah, Rookie of the Year, Legion. As much as I'm still sort of not, I don't want to say struggling to enjoy it because I do like it. It's just not my favorite yet, but I did just buy Veers and Rebel Troopers and Stormtroopers and extra dice tonight. So I'm working on it. I'm working on getting up, fully fielded armies, or at least closer to it. I want to like it. I know you guys do.
I mean, I guess I find it kind of interesting because, I mean, you've been enjoying Rune Wars quite a bit, haven't you?
Yes.
See, and that seems to be the game that like people haven't been enjoying as much. You know, like everywhere I like all the stores around me that carried Rune Wars ended up clearancing it all out fairly quickly because nobody wanted it.
Yeah, it's so weird. My store, Game Preserve, it was on the sale table within a month or two, but then the other couple stores around here that have tons of stock, including new stuff, aren't putting it on sale. They're full price. I'm like, what are you guys doing? I'm the only person around here that wants it. So, and it's a good game, obviously. But I've been telling everyone lately that I always pick FFG's Bastard game to be my favorite.
You just like getting burned by FFG.
Yes, I do. Redheaded stepchild.
Well, but now one of these days you'll be able to have a really sweet like YouTube video that'll get lots of hits where you're like FFG, man, and like you burn all your Rune Wars minis and all your Star Wars LCG cards, and
we just have to have all of our videos start with everything wrong with whatever topic we're covering, but then the content isn't even that. That's just going to be the thumbnail.
You can put like a picture of Kathleen Kennedy in the thumbnail, and everyone be like, oh, "Gotta click on that."
like
Kathleen Kennedy ruined FFG.
That's why Christian Peterson left.
And you can just be like, if you clicked on this, shame on you.
First of all. Secondly, let's talk about Rune Wars.
But no, I think the game's fantastic. Granted, I mean, it is my first like tabletop wargaming game. Not like my first minis game, because I mean, I've played Armada, I've played X-Wing, I've played Imperial Assault. I've played a few other ones that are more board gamey than war gamey, you know? But this is like, I've never played like 40K or War Machine or anything like that before Legion. So, I mean, I guess I don't have that reference point to compare it to any other games in the genre, but I've been loving the heck out of the game. I mean, there is a few, I mean, it's not perfect. Obviously, there's a few things, like there's a couple rules that I think are really stupid, and I hope that they get changed.
Now I'm curious.
Like mostly like the base overhang rule. It's
driving me crazy.
Wait.
It's
what's
poorly
this
written and also is kind of contradictory with the 45-degree rule for your base. So it's sort of like, which is it, guys? Because there's one rule that says you can't have your base overhanging the edge of something, right? You can't end your movement with the edge of your base overhanging the edge of
what?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's the rule.
Okay.
So what I heard was this rule was a response to an edge case, and now it's just made everything worse. Trying to fix
it probably is because
like,
because there's another rule that says that like, so previously with the rules as written, like a snow speeder would crash on a barricade, okay, which is just stupid. So they changed it and they said, no, you can stop on things like barricades or whatever. I mean, as long as your model doesn't tip over. Generally, like anything less than 45 degrees, you're okay. Okay? But there's no way to stop on a there's like almost a zero chance that you will stop on a barricade and not have your base hanging over the edge of that barricade somehow. So it's all like, which rule applies where? It's really unclear and needs to be fixed.
Well, yeah, and what I heard last league that this might have been a response to, I don't know why it was an issue. Like, picture 2 equal height terrains with a gap in between them, like a speeder bike, just the tip of it touching one of them and the back end touching the other one. So it's basically just floating there, but it's still hanging on. Like, they didn't want that happening. And last time I played with an airspeeder, we had this super cool terrain, but there was a lot of like little plateaus and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, I want to move here, but the edge of my base hangs off this cool plateau by like less than half an inch. That's against the rules. I have to go completely out of my way, keep flying over flat ground. Like, there's no reason that an airspeeder shouldn't be able to fly in that place. It's that, that I've changed. That's my biggest dud. That single rule that makes me annoyed to even try flying airspeeder.
Huh.
But, and then there was other things like when the game first launched, the rules for cover weren't the clearest. They've been clarified a lot in the latest rules updates, so fortunately. So, there's little things like that. But for the most part, I really like the game a lot.
I do too.
Well, all right.
You can put that. You can put
first...
that quote on your box, Fantasy Flight. I really like it a lot.
And then, like, farther down the box, it just says, "I do too."
And then further down, me too. All right, but I guarantee listeners will have even more to talk about with Legion, because that's all I want to talk about is miniatures. So let's move on to Most Improved. And again, I feel like I might have overlapped a little bit with Surprise Hit, but Joe, tell us what your Most Improved game is.
I will say Battlefront 2, because this time last year we still had loot boxes for the core of a progression system. We didn't have a squad system. We didn't have Obi-Wan. We didn't have Grievous. We didn't have Geonosis. We didn't have Kessel. There should have been a lot more that happened this year.
But we didn't have fun, and that's still not in the game. So we got a fundamental problem here.
There was a lot. It's like, I feel like if the game that exists now had come out when it came out, it would just be a popular game, and everyone except Leo would probably be fine with it.
Yeah, I agree. If today's game was the one that got released, it'd be great.
Coming back and being like, "Oh, where are all the loot boxes?" And that's all I ever heard about in this game, for good reason. Mm-hmm. They deserve to carry that shame for as long as their company exists. But the game is, beyond that now, and it's better for it. And that made us lose 3 months of development time, because they spent that time basically going, oops, undo, and rebuilding a core aspect of the game from the ground up, when they could have, been making new maps and characters and stuff. But it's definitely come a long way in 1 year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talked about doing when the anniversary hit, we were like, oh, we should do like a 1 year later. And Joe's like, okay, you need to go play 5 hours of this game to get back into it before we do our 1 year review. I played for an hour, and that was the absolute most I was able to stand. I uninstalled the game again. I'm done. I still have never even played the DLC bits of the campaign, because I just can't. The campaign is even worse. God, that was seriously like one of the worst single player FPS campaigns I've ever bothered to play through.
I looked at my Xbox account year in review, and I think it was just tracking multiplayer, but I think it said I had put 199 hours into Battlefront 2 in 2018.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Well, there you go. Oh, but are you going to be able to make a new video for hitting max level?
Say what now?
You made a video for 2015 Battlefront when you hit max level that became one of our top viewed videos on YouTube.
Yeah. No, that came and went. I didn't even notice because you're like level. It's maxed at 50. There's no signs of them increasing that cap anytime soon. But I didn't even notice because that's just... I still prefer the progression in the last game, but this one you care more about leveling your individual classes than like your overall rank.
Right.
And yeah, there wasn't like any sort of no video, sorry.
Aw. Yippee.
I have all of my infantry classes maxed out. And my Enforcer and my Aerial.
Well,
I'll level up
good.
my heroes now. Yeah. So you and me gonna play some after this episode?
I'm gonna take some NyQuil and hopefully pass out.
You could take NyQuil and then play with me.
Oh boy. Maybe I'll play better. Who knows? Actually, that usually is the case. When I've had a few and get on there, then it's... Just
drink like a whole bottle and then play.
That's when I name the stream Evan cusses like when he's in the army. See, that's my thing. I just get in character. I'm like, I'm on the battlefield and I'm just dipping into my Coke bottle and swearing up and kicking sand everywhere and gets everywhere. Dang old thing, man. Dang. See, I'm in character. All right. Most improved. Leo and I agree again that it's X-Wing. And I feel like we haven't talked a ton about X-Wing 2nd Edition. I mean, we certainly gave it its time, but because I am so in love with ground-based wargaming miniatures, I haven't been paying as much attention to it, and maybe I certainly have not been pushing to talk about it as much, except to complain about it. But having said that, I'm very happy that they recognized that the game, 1st edition, was suffering from a lot of bloat and kind of going out of control in terms of, well, just everything. The core game had hit a point where it couldn't really fit the paradigm.
Turrets were a mistake.
I mean, there were a lot of things that were made at the outset that they had to live with throughout 1st edition. Turrets being one of them. And, they just said, we just got to redo it. We just got to do a 2nd edition, and they did what they could. I feel like they did what they could to accommodate the fact that everyone had already spent potentially so much money on the first one, and they didn't want everyone to get too shafted on a 2nd edition. And I know people will disagree with me that they could have done it better, but I think they did what they could. And the fact that they recognized that there was a problem and they wanted to fix it, that alone, and obviously for them to have released it this year, they had to have been developing it for at least a year prior, if not further back. So when it comes to that game, they are definitely on top of it. I don't know how you feel about it, Leo.
Yeah. No, I've been really happy with what I've played so far, and I think at least for me, part of the reason why I haven't felt the need and why I don't think we've played it a ton on here, or talked about it a ton on here, is just because I've been playing really casually. Like when X-Wing first came out, I played a lot, and I played semi-competitively against people. Now, I mean, I've joined in, leagues that are at my local store, but I've just been mostly playing kind of silly lists just to have fun. Like I've just been, playing more casually, having more fun this time around.
I am in exactly the same boat as Leo as far as X-Wing. I haven't been playing as much X-Wing, but I've been playing it when I get a chance. And when I do, even if it's in a tournament setting, I'm not playing super seriously. Or at least with my list building and stuff.
I also feel like the changeover kind of helped facilitate that too, because at least in my area, the game had kind of almost pretty much died, and now the few other people who are playing in this league now, this 2.0 league, are all kind of in the same boat where none of us are really that interested in playing competitively. We just get together and have friendly games every couple weeks.
It's more like a poker night than like a hardcore league.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good way to put it. Only with less booze and cigars.
I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good way to play some X-Men. I can just picture like some older, middle-aged, typical poker guys, but like pulling out their minis. They got their Plano boxes. They're like, the room's filled with smoke. There's just the one lamp over the top. In fact, you know what they need? They need to have, instead of dogs playing poker picture, they need dogs playing X-Wing.
You could even play it on the same table because, like that green felt.
The felt. That's perfect.
Would be a nice non-slip surface for your X-Wing minis.
Very nice. Well, I think, unless we have anything else to say about that, we're going to talk about our Game of the Year. And again, this is...
or expansion.
Or expansion. And it's not just a face-off between rookie and improved. It might be one that's not new, didn't make drastic changes, but managed to just be awesome this year. And you know what, Leo? We know what it's going to be, but hit us with it anyways.
All right,
but what's yours?
It took me a while to think about this. I was thinking, maybe Battlefront 2.
Sure.
But, then I sobered up and I went with the Decipher Star Wars CCG as my game of the year. As much as I enjoy Legion, it's still not better than that game.
Not Dune?
It was
Castle wants
Dune,
to know if it was
the
Dune.
CCG was close. I mean, It does have stars in it, and there is wars that take place in Dune.
Well, and of course, just that specific expansion that you got. It wasn't even the core. It was just the expansion of the core. So it was a box. It was all the same.
Yes. Anyways, Star Wars CCG. Honestly, getting to play that this summer at Gen Con was one of the probably one of the best Star Wars gaming experiences I had all year.
Me too.
It was great. So if any of the guys who ran that draft at Gen Con happen to be listening, thanks again for that. It was awesome. Yeah, there we go. That's the game of the year for what, like the 4th, 5th year running now?
And I know you should send your awards off to the developers.
That's quite a record.
Joe.
I think this might or may not come as a surprise to people. My game of 2018 is Legion. It came out in March, and I've been playing it pretty much consistently ever since. I still hold Imperial Assault higher in my ranking, but I've certainly played far less Imperial Assault this year. I think I went to a store championship and then just squeezed in some games here and there. I'm going to a regional next month in Denver. But, we are starting to get a Legion. We've had a couple leagues already since it came out. I've had a lot of fun painting my guys. Doing the painting contest on our live stream a while back was a lot of fun.
Your store always does really interesting things for its games. Like, they're almost never just straight up 800-point games.
We just started a new league, but in the past we've had, it wasn't like a little while ago we tried a 3v3 game, which kind of failed because it was on New Year's Day and we didn't realize store hours were different. We had like a campaign league where we had an even number of Rebel and Empire players, and depending on which faction won more that day, that affected what we did in the next week. I think we had an escalation league. So yeah, I guess now that we've just started a basic league, like just standard 800 points each time for, I think it's going to be 6 weeks. This is the first time we've kind of done standard in a while. So yeah, I've definitely put a lot of time and I've had a lot of fun painting Legion, and so Legion is my game of the year.
God, I can't believe neither of you guys voted for the CCG.
And I also gave Legion Game of the Year for a number of reasons. Even though I've only played it a little bit, it certainly contributed to me becoming a wargamer / minis guy / painting guy. And I think without it, and you guys being as enthusiastic as you were about it, I wouldn't have. And now painting minis is my favorite thing in the whole wide world, apparently. That's all I want to do. Wow. That's never going to get old. And yeah, it's I really like it. I think it's great because, like Leo has said, this is kind of the first time that any company has done a Warhammery, wargamey style of Star Wars. We can quibble about rules. I certainly have my quibbles.
Well, West End Games did actually put out a minis game in the 80s.
Okay.
It didn't. I don't think it ever really took off. So
yeah.
I actually didn't hear about it until a few years ago when I happened to come across the rule books in like a used bookstore and picked those up. But
oh wow.
Yeah. Anyways,
but yeah, like through the Decipher era, the WotC era, and the FFG era, we got miniatures. Like we had the I'm not thinking of a good word, like the D&D style, like we talked about before, the WotC minis. But that's very much like a small skirmish type, and it is that was very reminiscent, or I should say Imperial Assault was kind of reminiscent of that. And we just hadn't had a hobby, like a glue them together, paint them, make terrain, hobby miniatures war game for Star Wars, at least in a long, long, long time in recent gaming history. And that's something that I think more people wanted than realized it, and I think it's great that it exists. I think they're doing a great job. The support for the game, I think, has been good. I think they could be doing things a little better, but it's only less than a year old, coming up on a year old in a few months, and I hope now that I'm paying more attention to how Games Workshop does things, I can see some of the things in FFG that I'm not super crazy about, but I hope that they put their resources into Legion that it needs to be successful long term so we can have the same sort of life that X-Wing has had. So I'm looking forward to big things with Legion. Will be watching its career with great interest. And if I can get back to my notes. So, Game of the Year, Legion, Star Wars, CCG, parentheses, also Legion, really. Hooray, congratulations, Legion. Your award is in the mail. And I do want to also pour one out for a fallen soldier. That being Star Wars the card game, a.k.a.
this is the
Star Wars LCG.
The in memoriam section.
Yes.
When you hear this, I want you to go onto our Discord and just type the letters SWLCG
all together,
Discord
no
chat,
spaces.
and that's it. Yeah, just let her rip and see how many people do that, and we can have a nice little memorial.
Aw, thank you, Meat Castle.
You put a dedicated, 1 month long channel dedicated just to paying respects to the game.
Yep.
It's like, post gifs of like candles and stuff.
Oh, oh man, that game, that was the game that I really enjoyed. In fact, I'm going to touch on that here in another second. So congratulations, Legion. Now let's move on to our 2019 predictions and resolutions. And even though we have ours first in the notes, I want to mention our patrons. We asked them for their predictions and resolutions. So we're going to touch on them first before we get to ours. So
you don't have it in the notes, but old Ollie said in the chat here just a little bit ago that his 2019 resolution is he is hoping to finish painting his Imperial Assault minis and revive his local Destiny group. Despite Evan hating it, old Ollie wants to bring it back.
What?
You just said, may have been 20 minutes ago, that Star Wars Destiny was the worst game you'd ever played.
Is that what I said? Is that
it ends up in the landfill with the ET Atari game?
You know what? I could have said I blame it for LCG's death, but I didn't. I didn't cast aspersions on it.
Honestly, LCG was on life support almost from launch, and you know it.
Oh. Yes, I know. Well, it's because they had to redo the game.
Destiny. All Destiny really did was they finally were like, when Destiny came out, they were finally like, okay, yeah, you can pull the plug. We can take it off resuscitation here.
Those do actually sound like very good resolutions to have.
Let's see here, Joe. What does John have to say? John posted this over on the Patreon page. What does he have to say?
John said, "I would like to play more Battlefront 2.
Why?
Especially when the new game mode and 501st skins drop." The new game mode is going to be more like a Battlefield type thing. They've confirmed Starship interiors. Ooh.
See, now that does intrigue me a little bit, because I do feel like Battlefront is at its absolute worst when you're on these big, wide open maps. Like, interior maps, I have a little bit more fun on.
Because you can just spam grenades.
Not even no.
See, you guys have a difference of opinion on interior maps. But John also says, for Destiny, I would like to try win another store championship. Ooh, humble brag.
For Destiny, I would like you to give me back my Maz's goggles, John.
I also really enjoyed being the TO, tournament organizer, for people who don't know what that means, for the Fargo Regional, and would love to TO another event in the future, though that may be harder since I live outside the area. Those sound like great resolutions to me. And TOing is fun. I've done it in the past for Imperial Assault events, and I enjoy that.
Christian also chimed in over on the Patreon page. He's chiming in right now, so he can correct.
Chiming?
He's chiming, yeah. a little chiming.
Are you calling him names?
What has that little chiming got to say?
Damn it. Oh my goodness. That's not actually is. Now someone's gonna go on to someone's gonna get on Urban Dictionary and say, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, we didn't know. We also didn't know that Jodo was a thing on Urban Dictionary either. Anyways.
Yeah, we need a disclaimer that anything we say that is an actual defined thing on Urban Dictionary, we didn't know that before we said it.
We'll put that at the beginning of every episode. So he says, in 2019, I'm hoping to get to play Imperial Assault for the first time and to get more chances to try Legion. So basically he's calling me out because I'm the one that has to supply him with both of these games. He goes on to... he says, yup. He also says, generally, I'm just shooting on actually finishing as many video games as I start, being sure to make time with friends to play regularly, etc. And I know he's already planning the next recording sessions for Encounter Time, our RPG podcast. Plug. Anyone listening to this that likes RPGs should listen to that show because it's a lot of fun. Oh dear. Oh, we have the official chime in happening.
Oh, I just looked for it.
Yeah, it's not an Urban Dictionary.
If you
the closest is
like the word
chimin.
Or I mean, you could pronounce it chimin, but it's also not bad.
It's just as somebody who is a goody two shoes and can also get annoyed, spelt incorrectly, very easily by the simplest things, like when somebody misspells annoyed.
I mean, that's me to a T.
And then puts annoyed as a hashtag in your Urban Dictionary definition, also still misspelled.
Maybe it's chi main, like low main. It's possible. It sounds like it could also be a Dragon Ball character. But yes, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back into... this is, again, playing with Christian. We had been playing a bunch of Edge of the Empire that I was running, and I'd like to continue that with that group. But if I need to bring my fully painted Imperial Assault Wave 1, we will try to do that, and my Legion guys, so yes, high fives all the way around here. And Leo, what does Mythical Mothman from Discord have to say?
The Mythical Mothman says that his resolution is to paint more. Hey, that's a good idea. That's kind of my resolution too, I suppose. I really need to paint more. I've got a lot of to paint.
I mean, you're making good progress on Veers from the sounds of it.
I've primed him twice. We're ready to go.
He's ready. He's done. That's 2 colors, right?
Slap a wash on there. No bait. No.
No oil. Done.
I'm trying to catch up on my Legion. I currently have one set of Rebel Commandos and some stuff from the priority supplies. Then I'm all caught up again.
I actually have everything except for Boba Fett and that one rando snowtrooper. Everything for my Imperial army that I have assembled, which is actually everything except for Palpatine and the Royal Guards.
What about Vader?
I haven't actually put Vader together yet either. But otherwise, everything that's actually assembled is at the very least primed at this point for my Imperial armies.
At the very least, what?
Primed.
Oh,
so they have some level of paint on them.
That kept going downhill. You're like, I've got all of my Imperials. I'm like, wow, there's more than I thought. And then you're like, that I have assembled. I'm like, okay, that number just went down. Primed. Like, oh.
No, I only have one. Hey, I've almost got my second unit of Imperials fully painted. My second unit.
Ooh. Well, I will say that having units painted does not necessarily help when you're actually playing, because Christians unprimed, unpainted, on Karmaro from Rune Wars managed to almost single-handedly dismantle my human army.
But you have like kind of a moral victory. Well, at least I painted.
I like to think so. In fact, it was my primed or unprimed, unpainted guy who just died immediately. He just off the table. Goodbye. Get out of here. And then it was my half-painted guys that did the do. With what?
That's one of my little quibbles with Legion.
Yeah.
Is that I'm like, oh, I spent all this time painting my guy. I really like how he looks. I like this. There's this little detail on him that no one's gonna ever see that I'm gonna see, like his mustache or something. And then you put him on the table, and then he's dead already. Back in the box, just gone, just like that. After all that time painting him. Yeah. Unless you like Luke or something, who actually can weather more than one hit.
Well, you know what? We can hack together some house rules, and you can put a saving throw in there for them. You can make them roll to attack, roll to wound, and then roll for saving throw.
Isn't that kind of already how the game works?
Más o menos, but in any event, continue.
So that was my resolution for the year. Are we all going to do our resolutions and then predictions, or should I do my prediction?
Let's see here. I guess we did sort of loosely do resolutions, our own resolutions, didn't we?
Did I?
I don't know.
Here it is, real quick. Make top 8 at Imperial Assault Regionals. I need dice.
Yeah.
I don't need them, but like my soul needs them.
Oh, I had another resolution. Learn to love another Star Wars tabletop game, because I like a lot of them. Like, I like Legion and Imperial Assault and kind of X-Wing and not really Destiny. But
maybe you should go buy Rebellion. Or maybe you should go play the game of the year.
The
Star Wars CCG.
I mean, I already beat you once. Why do I need to bother?
My honorable mention for both Dud and Game of the Year is the Jar Jar Binks 3D adventure game. Because I finally got to play that this year. And it was as fun and as terrible as I thought it would be. You could get into that game. You could be a real hobbyist about that.
Nah, I'm good.
Be the guy always sitting in the back of the store with the box, like, "Hey, you want to go for a round?"
I would donate that to my local store for their library, just so that someone can look at it and be like, "Really, you have this?"
That's why I have it.
There you go.
So people. I have a lot of weird Star Wars board games.
Yes, you do, as people got to see on the Extra Life stream. And just really quick, as a reminder to people, If you've not gone back and watched the Extra Life videos that we've put on YouTube, you should, because they're a lot of fun. And we get goofy, and we get tired, and it gets weird. But we have a lot of fun. Okay, predictions. 2019 gaming predictions.
All right.
Mr. Leo.
I predict that EA is going to finally release a video game. And it's going to suck.
I mean,
that's
that second part's the prediction. The first part is not.
Well, no, they could end up
That's
delaying.
wisdom.
It could not get released. They could close down the studio that's making the game. You know, who knows?
Which is every bit as likely.
Yeah, there is precedent for that.
So yes, okay. So yeah, game's gonna come out. It's gonna be terrible. Joe will probably like it. That's my prediction.
My prediction, my dying hope is that we get more Lego Star Wars games, but my prediction is I will like Jedi Fallen Order. I won't love it. It'll be better than Force Unleashed, but not super great, but it'll be okay.
That's a pretty low bar to hop over there.
Let's crank up that prediction-o-meter. There will be familiar faces in that game, like maybe Barriss Offee is in it, or other characters that we like, Quinlan Voss. There will be some kind of lore, not bombshells, because I don't expect any sort of bombshell to really happen outside of the films, but there'll be some things in there for fans who are like, oh, that's that person. I think that's all the predictions I've got.
Also, I predict that when the Clone Wars factions end up coming out for Legion later this year, the Separatists are going to end up being way cooler than the Republic.
I hope so, because that's the faction I'm going for.
I predict the Republic's going to be boring and lame because, you know, they're going to end up looking just like the Imperials on the board.
I'm going to have to... I might be rolling my eyes a lot playing Legion once those factions come out, because people will probably have really cliche or lame things to crack wise about. Every time
they put an order token down next to their battle droids, they'll be rogering hard.
Oh, I might do that. That's not eye rolling. I approve of that. I need to get a little soundboard of battle droids. And I really want to mod one of my
soundboard for the show.
I want to mod one of my battle droid unit leaders to look like Roger from the Freemaker Adventures. Give him like a mop and a sheet of cookies or something.
I want to mod one of mine to look like Mr. Bones.
There you go.
And then start it on fire.
Yeah.
My predictions are...
Man, you've never even finished that first book with Mr. Bones, right?
No. In fact, I've barely even... I've only finished one chapter that even contained Mr. Bones in it. Like, that's all the further...
Wow. Man, if you got through all three of those books, you'd really hate him. Anyways,
oh my goodness.
Evan.
Thank you. My predictions are as follows. We will get a bunch more app adventures for Imperial Assault. We won't get any more physical. Will not.
That's good. We should just stay friends, Evan.
Okay. You're hurting my brain in so many ways, in ways that I never knew were possible. After we get the Superstar Destroyer, we won't hear anything about Armada. In fact, at the in-flight report, when someone says, "So, is Armada done?" they'll just say, "We enjoy Armada, and we have a lot of people who enjoy Armada, and we thank you for enjoying Armada."
No, I'd say there's probably about a 75% chance we're going to get Clone Wars era stuff for Armada announced in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
I think that would be, a good fit.
Yeah, I agree.
There's certainly a really good variety of capital ships.
Yeah. And remember, during the actual in-flight report, what was it? Someone asked them that, they said, hey, so you talked about Clone Wars for X-Wing and for Legion, but you didn't say anything about Armada. And Fantasy Flight's response was basically like, yeah, funny. They didn't, what I'm saying? They were being real coy about that. Like, so
it's possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Clone Wars stuff rolling on out eventually here.
Eventually. And I do predict that, let's see here, we might see, I don't know if this is just a wish or a prediction. Here's what I'd like to see happen.
Wish diction.
Yes, a wish diction. Sure, why not? Put that on Urban Dictionary. I would like, and I hope to see FFG release some sort of a new way to play Legion, or some sort of a campaign type of add-on, something besides just new models. Sort of narrative.
They're putting out operations every couple months.
There are if you have one other person, there are already a handful of things you could make little campaigns out of that have custom deployment, custom objectives, a little bit of flavor text explaining why each force is there.
Sometimes
the one we did for our league was like, the second Death Star is blown up and the Empire is desperately trying to gather some more resources or something, and the rebels have to stop them. There's a few things like that. It's not nearly as blown out or intimate as Imperial Assault, but
they got some stuff like the what was it? Is it the Raid? That one's really cool, really interesting. Where it's like, it's almost like an escalation where you start with a smaller force, and then like each round you get to add more stuff, but it's partially based on like you'll get extra points to add to your army based on whether you like won or lost in the previous round and by like how much you won by or whatever. And so like you can get and you can even get upgrades for some of your units that normally you wouldn't be able to legally take. I don't know. It's an interesting format.
Wish diction come true.
But if you're talking something more like, say, like the Heroes of Atari cluster that there used to be for X-Wing, even though that wasn't an official X-Wing product, or like the campaign thing that they put out for Armada campaign or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing something more along those lines. But like I said, at the same time, there's already, sort of versions of that out there.
But are those more for store campaigns?
That's what they're put there for. But there's nothing that says that you and one other person can't just play those.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I think it would be perfectly fine and fun, maybe even more rewarding to play against. I wouldn't want to do that with somebody I got randomly paired up with, but in your case, you have Christian who you play with. If you guys sat down and went through one of these campaigns, that would probably be really fun.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that, because what I was thinking of, and here's my pitch for you. I would pay $50, $60, whatever, for a box that comes with a campaign with a bunch of different missions in it and some terrain, just some scattered terrain, themed around a planet. So Imperial and Rebels are fighting for a planet. Here's the campaign story. Here's some scatter terrain, all in a box, ready to go. It's not just, here's some pieces of terrain. Here's some story to go with that. Here's missions for you and your buddy to play at home on your kitchen table. That's what I'd like. That's definitely not an FFG thing, but I would like them to take some cues from other companies and release things like that.
That sort of did that with that, what is it called? The Carillion campaign for Armada, where they released a box with a bunch of cards, and it had like that was kind of a campaign thing. That was more of like, remember in Battlefront 2, 2005, the Galactic Conquest, where you have like a galactic map and it says who controls which planet. I think the thing in Armada was kind of like that, but that could be cool for Legion too.
And I don't know how true or accurate it is, but supposedly some Fantasy Flight employee at Gen Con was some people asked him at the Legion tournament. We're asking him about actual official terrain from them, scatter terrain or whatever. And apparently he made it sound like it's something that they want to do, but they are being held back from that by LucasArts for one reason or another. Again,
Lucasfilm.
Yeah, that's what I said. Why don't you listen?
You said LucasArts.
You chiming.
If only.
you damn chiming. That's somebody call someone that interrupts. Someone that interrupts just to get the 2 cents in. Is it chiming?
God dang chiming.
The worst thing
I've been facepalm all day long.
But whether that's true or not, like I said, I don't know. It's hearsay. So maybe we'll see something in the future. Maybe we won't.
I would not be surprised if there were some sort of licensing hangups with, like always, with Hasbro, or maybe even a different company that has license to make like models and stuff.
Well, we shall see. All right. I don't think we have any more. Oh, wait, did we get a... Joe, did you give us a prediction? You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I don't remember what it was, but I did.
I don't remember either. And Leo's always giving us predictions. So, are we done? Is that it? I just want to keep talking about things that I want to see from Legion. I just want to keep talking about Legion, because I want to play. I want to love this game. I want them to give me more stuff. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we go, I think we are going to wrap up.
You've only got a few more days till the personnel packs come out. So
that was my question.
Those allegedly come out on the 25th.
4th.
Oh, good. I am looking forward to that.
25th in Europe.
And
24th in America.
I've actually pre-ordered 2 copies of them. Hopefully, they're there for me.
And
when somebody pre-ordered a Chewbacca, goes to the store to pick it up, and they sold it to somebody else like an hour earlier.
Yeah. That happened to me with my Palpatine and Royal Guards.
Like maybe,
or no, just my
somebody
Palpatine.
Pre-ordered it because they're gonna buy it.
They just didn't want you to have your Palpatine because they also thought, you know what, Palpatine as a commander, dumb.
This is the first expansion I've pre-ordered 2 of, because I think you kind of want 2 right off the bat. Like, it's going to be harder to live with just 1 pack than it has been for me, like all the other ones.
Oh, wait. Okay,
and
so why?
2 astromech droids. Because there's only 4 dudes come in this pack.
Right.
And you can put 1 dude in a squad who does something special.
Oh, gotcha.
So if you really like that special thing that guy does, maybe you want 2 of them, because then you can put him in 2 squads.
Yeah, I've seen.
Like
I've seen lists that, where they run like the officer, like Imperial officer, in every single unit of snowtroopers.
Dang.
So, having like 4 or 5 officers in their units.
That's a lot of Orinda prices.
But I don't know if I'm going to buy that many. I've pre-ordered 2 for each faction. But I'm also excited because supposedly the stupid premium bases are finally going to come out. Even though they have been out like in Europe and in some places they came out like ages ago, months and months ago, but they never actually got like an official release. But supposedly they're supposed to finally hit here alongside the personnel packs here on the 24th. So I've got my fingers crossed because I really want those. Like, I'm planning on putting Palpatine and like the Royal Guards and stuff on those kind of bases because I think that just fits them better than putting them on like some kind of grassy base or whatever.
I'm looking forward to see what people do with them, but I'm not going to get any. I'm sticking with Crate. All my guys are still on Crate.
I do like that design an awful lot. I don't know what I'm going to do for my guys yet. The first actual like basing that I'm going to practice on is going to be my Rune Wars guys because that's just going to be grass. Bright grass for good guys and dead grass for skellies.
And Rune Wars seems fun to do because you do that little tray they're on too, so, like matches.
Yeah,
and then watch all my humans die.
See, I'm one of those people who I've not been caring about matching up the bases on my armies. Like, I know some people are really worried about that. They're like, oh, I based all my other stuff on grass. Now I have to put my snowtroopers on grass, and it's going to look weird. I'm just like, no, whatever. I've got some stormtroopers on grass, and I've got my snowtroopers on snow. And then I've got Palpatine walking around on metal, and I'll probably have some other guys on lava or whatever. Just cuz.
I think that's fine. I enjoyed the uniformity of mine. And if I ever get my own like at-home terrain, I'd probably try and make it sort of crate-like, so then they look extra good when they're on there. Somebody brought a map that was sort of like gray, sort of snowy texture, and I was like, my bases look really cool on this. I want this for myself.
I'm going to do up this...
I'll pick something new. Huh?
I'm going to do up this new batch of Rebel Troopers I just bought for snow operations. Even though they're not technically snowmen.
I'll have to figure out what I want to do with my battle droids when those guys come out. Maybe I'll just
make them all snow. 100% snow. Ooh, actually, you know what? If you get some of the Martian texture paint from GW, that'd be perfect for Geonosis. It's red and it's cracked.
Oh yeah, that would be.
I bought some of that.
I don't have any, but I've seen it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we could just keep going on and on and on and on, which I'd love to do.
I want someone to... I hope they release that, like, Sharkman General. So then you could just, like encase him in, like, a tube of resin, so it looks like he's underwater.
My goodness. No.
I'm sure that he, like every other aquatic species, can breathe in the air just fine.
He's got to be underwater.
I don't know if we've seen any examples of that species outside of the water.
No, we haven't.
Same thing with Lichar. He's going to be underwater too, so they can fight. Oh my god. If they put out Lichar for the Republic, I'm going to switch factions as my main.
Please don't.
I'm going to be a Lichar main.
Yes. Only if they give him the pose that matches the emoji on our Discord. Lichar is in the comics.
He sure is.
Interestingly enough.
Okay. As I've been trying to get us out of here, we're just going to keep yakking on. So we should wrap up the episode. And if we want to keep yapping after we close out the episode, patrons can stick around and listen to us flap our gums, but we're coming up on a fairly long episode now, so we're going to tie this up with a neat little end of Christmas bow, a little Boxing Day coming up on Super Bowl, next holiday in America bow. I don't know what you call that. It's late, I'm tired, I'm still sick, I need me some NyQuil. All right, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you patrons for jumping into Discord and chatting with us. We love having you on here. We will try to maintain Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time as our main recording time. It varies, but generally that's when it is, so we really love having everyone in here to talk with us. And thanks to Leo and Joe, of course, always for being here. Patrons, you're awesome.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. It's a privilege to get to talk with you both. I enjoy getting to talk with you both very much. And I always look forward to the next one. We're going to have... we're getting towards the end of the Padawan, the Knight, and the Master. So stick around. We got TFA and TLJ coming up. It's going to be some long ones. Buckle in. Drink some coffee. And some with booze in it. And unless anybody has anything else. Oh my goodness. Well, goodbye.